So earlier this week, Nintendo had their financial meeting with their investors where they were talking about the sales and performance for some of their latest games and the Nintendo Switch, and Nintendo's president, Mr. Furukawa, also gave a really cool piece of information about the next generation system and the Nintendo Switch 2, being that it is going to have backwards compatibility with the entire current Nintendo Switch generation, meaning that if you have physical cartridges or if you've got digital games, you're still going to be able to play them all on the next system as well, alongside the next generation games too. So this is very exciting for a lot of people. I know backwards compatibility, some people were very worried that their Switch games weren't going to carry over, but you're going to be able to bring your entire library to the next system as well, so it's very nice to hear. But ever since this meeting concluded, there's actually been other pieces of information that have come out as well about Nintendo's next generation system and the Switch 2, and these are coming from Nintendo's president as well, and while it isn't anything as major as having like backwards compatibility getting confirmed, it does still give a little bit more insight into how Nintendo is thinking about these things, and I do find it pretty interesting, so I figured I'd talk about it with you guys inside of this video. Alright, so the first thing that we've got here is it seems like Nintendo's president Furukawa actually had some interview with like a Japanese website called Mainichi, and I guess they published like an article just answering some things that they asked him, and so we've actually got somebody here on Reset Era who did a translation, and so it says here that President Furukawa said about the details of the Nintendo Switch successor, there is no change in the plan to announce it during the fiscal year ending in March of 2025. I can't say anything more than that. Regarding potential hesitation to purchase the current model due to the announcement of a successor, he added, I can't say that it doesn't exist at all, but the Switch is already in its 8th year since launch. I don't think the presence or absence of a successor will have much impact on customers who are purchasing it at this timing. So basically here, he's talking about the one thing, which is that we already still have confirmation that their plan is still just on track as like what they said before back in May, that they're gonna make the announcement about the Nintendo Switch 2 before the end of March of 2025. So by March 31st, 2025, we are guaranteed to know exactly what the Nintendo Switch 2 looks like. That is the promise that they have made, and they said that it's still on track for that to happen. But this was also interesting because he talked about kind of the potential hesitation that some people might have about purchasing a Switch right now because they already know about the next gen system. So this was interesting too, because he did say here, I can't say that it doesn't exist at all, but the Switch is already in its 8th year since launch. I don't think the presence or absence of a successor will have much impact on customers who are purchasing it at this timing. So basically here, he's saying that just because they confirmed the Switch 2, he doesn't think that it's going to have any type of impact really on Nintendo's holiday sales, and I've kind of said this from the start as well. Like, I know a lot of times when I was speculating about the possibility that maybe the Switch 2 could be shown off this year, everybody just kept saying, oh, well, you know, they don't want to cannibalize their holiday sales. They've got all these games coming out, so they can't have the Switch 2 get shown right now. And you can see right here, straight from Nintendo's president, even he's saying that I don't think that the successor system right now, announcing that it exists or that we're going to show it or anything like that, is making any type of impact on people who are looking to buy a Nintendo Switch, because I mean, the Nintendo Switch has sold over 140 million units. Like, we're at the point now where pretty much anybody who's wanted a Nintendo Switch has one. Like, there was definitely one game by now that finally convinced you to go out and buy a Nintendo Switch, and for a lot of people, it's just Pokemon. Like, once Pokemon Sword and Shield came out, and that was like the whole new generation of Pokemon that was available on the Nintendo Switch, that was like the big thing that got people to buy a Nintendo Switch right away. Maybe for some of you, it was Smash Bros. With like Super Smash Bros. Ultimate when that came out. There's always one game that finally convinces you to buy the next gen system, and now that we're in the 8th year, there has to have been something by now that convinced you to get a Switch, because I don't think that there's people who have been like hesitating since like the last 4 or 5 years, just like, should I get a Switch, should I not? Like, I don't think so. I feel like you definitely have one at this point now if you've wanted one, and so I do agree that it's not really going to have any impact now on people who are looking to buy a Switch, because the only thing now for people who want a Switch is they probably need to see something like a price cut or something to actually get like a substantial increase in sales. Now, this is a slide from the Nintendo financial meeting where Furukawa was talking, and he actually mentioned this where he was really talking about how they want to strengthen the relationships that they have with other software publishers especially moving into the next generation system and all of that. And I do find this to be really big because we can actually see some Western developers that are on here as well, and a lot of these developers do have games that are on the Nintendo Switch, but I also think with the next generation system, we're gonna have way more support for third-party games compared to what we have on the Nintendo Switch. And the reason for that is because a lot of third parties didn't really support the Nintendo Switch at launch because they were really burnt out from the Wii U. And the thing is, when the original Wii was available back in like 2007, 2008, 2009, there were so many third-party games that were coming to the Wii. You had like Call of Duty and Just Dance and all these games that were coming to the Wii system with third-party support, despite it having like weird motion controls and having like this completely different looking controller from like what people had with like the Wiimote and stuff. There was still a lot of third-party support. And so because of that, when the Wii U was about to come out at launch, we also had a ton of third-party games. I think we had like the newest Call of Duty at the time, which was Black Ops 2, which is my favorite Call of Duty. That was coming out for the Wii U. There was also, I think, like Rayman games and just a lot of third-party support that was available for the Wii U at launch. But then obviously the Wii U never really took off, and so we saw just third-party support get more and more decline from the Wii U to the point where towards the end, like, there was basically no third-party games coming out for the Wii U at all. And because of that, so many of these developers kind of were burnt out from the Wii U, and with the Nintendo Switch, they probably just assumed that it was also going to be not that successful, it wasn't going to be that good. And so with the Wii U, we had so many third-party support at launch, but the Switch didn't really have a lot. Like, we had like, I think Bomberman and just a couple of like, I think we had like Street Fighter from Capcom, and it was just a very small amount of third-party support. But now they've seen how successful the Nintendo Switch is, and they know that the Switch 2 is going to be very successful as well. So I do think a lot of these third-party developers are really going to be starting to try to get a lot of their games now for the next generation Nintendo system. And I mean, I've seen some like developers here like From Software. It wouldn't surprise me if they're really trying to get something like Elden Ring running on the next gen Nintendo system. And I think like Atlas is here too. We've got like Persona 3 Reload from them. I think we've also got like that new Metaphor game that came out. So a lot of these types of games, I could see them trying to get those types of games available on the next gen Nintendo system as soon as it's available. Now, Nintendo also finally published the Q&A from this investors meeting. So this was when like the investors could directly ask Nintendo questions that they had about the stuff that was mentioned in the meeting and just other additional information. And the people who were attending this meeting, like the President Shuntaro Furukawa, Miyamoto, Shinya Takahashi, these other people could answer some of these questions. And so we've got a few pretty interesting things that were mentioned. So the first one is this question right here, where somebody said, in today's presentation, you stated that Nintendo Switch software will be playable and Nintendo Switch Online will continue to be available on the successor to Nintendo Switch. Wouldn't this weaken the motivation for current Nintendo Switch players to purchase the new hardware at launch? I would like to know how you will convey the unique appeal of the successor system to consumers moving forward. And so for that, Furukawa answered by saying, we explained that Nintendo Switch software will also be playable on the successor to the Nintendo Switch. Nintendo Switch is being played by many consumers, and we decided that the best direction to take would be for consumers to be able to play their already purchased Nintendo Switch software on the successor to Nintendo Switch. With this, consumers can choose to continue to enjoy games that they have already purchased, as well as additional titles that they want to play from among the robust lineup of titles released for Nintendo Switch. Further information about the successor to Nintendo Switch, including its compatibility with the Nintendo Switch, will be announced at a later date. We will continue to use various ways to convey the appeal of the successor to the Nintendo Switch, like we have always done as a company that provides integrated hardware, software entertainment. So here, they're basically just talking about the reason that they implemented having backwards compatibility was because so many games were already purchased by people on the Nintendo Switch, and like I said, it would be very stupid to just abandon all of those people and all of those games and start from nothing again on a whole next-gen system, so it makes perfect sense that they have backwards compatibility. And really the other important question was this one here, where somebody said, when developing new hardware, I understand that it is important to create products that are unique to Nintendo, but when a piece of hardware is too unique, it can pose challenges for other software publishers to make games for that platform. When it comes to hardware development, what are you careful about when trying to strike a balance between uniqueness and ease of software development? And for that, we've got an answer here that says, the unique features and characteristics of our hardware are not created by the hardware developers alone. We work in close collaboration with the other software development teams to consider how to deliver a unique entertainment experience. Of course, we also consider the gameplay of other software publishers during this process as well. Throughout the development process, we create various prototypes and test how they feel, and then we refine the ones that we think are good. This iterative process is crucial. However, in recent years, not only are the hardware and software important, but the system software responsible for running both is growing in importance as well, making hardware development a collaborative effort involving the three groups of developers. Nintendo has always placed emphasis on introducing unique products to the global market, so we will continue to carefully balance the uniqueness with the ease of software development as we strive to create uniquely Nintendo products. Now, the answer to this question actually makes me very excited because, of course, they talked about how it's important to have a good balance between the hardware and software so that it's easy for developers and third-party publishers to bring their games over to the next-gen Nintendo system and the Switch 2, and it's easy for them to make games and controls and everything that can work easily with the system. But what I really liked about this answer is how he was talking about how the system software itself is also getting increasingly more and more important, and he's completely right about that because the days of having like just a basic Game Boy Advance where you just slot in your game, you turn it on and it just goes right into the game and you play your game, those days are long behind us. Like, that's not how games work anymore. You need to have the actual console itself have a really nice UI and have a really nice system software so that you can actually do a lot of other things like having maybe social media integration, having voice chat, having online features, making it easy to be able to post about things. And I feel like that this is kind of giving me a little bit of hope that maybe they're actually going to try to make the software of the Switch 2 itself, like in terms of the actual console, a good software, because that's what I'm really hoping for. I really want to see like a really nice, sleek, colorful new UI that actually has all the icons for the games looking really pretty. I want to see some actual home screen and eShop music, please. Don't just make it be silence and just completely boring and soulless like what we have on the current Nintendo Switch. And this maybe also gives me a little bit of hope even that maybe they're going to actually integrate some more online features into the system itself. Like, please have dedicated voice chat into the system itself, have a way to be able to message your friends, send invites, like these types of basic features that really need to be there now for a system that's coming out in 2025. And so this gives me a little bit of faith, and I'm really hoping that they decide to go through with this and we actually do see a big improvement from a lot of this coming with the Nintendo Switch 2. And now the final thing that we've got here is everybody's favorite leaker, PH Brazil, is back. And so PH Brazil, as you guys know, he was speculating that Nintendo might actually show off the Nintendo Switch 2 before going into this investors meeting. Obviously that didn't happen, but they did talk about some stuff with the Switch 2 inside of this meeting, so it was pretty nice to get a little bit of information. But now PH Brazil is talking about how he's expecting a Nintendo Direct in February. Now he is saying here that this isn't like a leak, but he's just saying here in terms of this quote, there will be a February, from my understanding, Switch 1 focused Direct. Might end up being just another partner showcase with a single/couple of first-party games shown. If even that though, the Xenoblade X announcement makes me think that Nintendo doesn't care too much about showcasing these late ports in a Direct presentation. So basically he's talking about how he's just speculating that there's probably going to be some type of Direct in February, which like most people can figure that out by themselves. Like, we've had a February Direct for many years now. It doesn't surprise me. Like, this year we didn't have like an actual mainline one, but we still had a partner showcase that happened in February, and that was when they like I think showed off like the Endless Ocean game and stuff like that. So maybe they could just do that again next year. It's interesting how he's talking about how it's going to be a Switch 1 focused Direct, so I'm assuming that that means that by that time, maybe they still haven't revealed a Switch 2, and maybe that's kind of their plan, is to have like a Switch 1 focused like Nintendo Direct Mini or Partner Showcase or something in February, and then moving into like late February or early March, maybe that's when they're going to show off the Switch 2, or they could do it the other way around where maybe they're going to show the Switch 2 early into like January and then just tell people like, don't worry, we still got a Switch 1 focused presentation coming in February, so that way people aren't like panicking and being like, oh no, they're already going to the next gen system. So I think that could be it, but yeah, it's not really too like crazy to like expect that there's going to be a February Direct. I think it's pretty likely to happen. Having it being Switch 1 focused is kind of interesting, but I think that could be kind of making sense to how they go about with like having that and then lining up with the information about the Switch 2. But yeah, that is pretty much all the latest information that we have about the successor to the Nintendo Switch with Nintendo's next generation system. If you guys enjoyed the video, definitely be sure to click that like button and also subscribe to the channel as well. I'm definitely gonna have some more videos talking about the Switch too, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on that. Comment down below and let me know what you guys think about this. How do you guys feel about Furukawa's comments with the Nintendo Switch 2? How do you feel about these interview questions and the possibility that there's probably going to be a February Nintendo Direct? Definitely be sure to comment down below and let me know. But if you don't have anything to say about it, just comment your favorite emoji down below for some engagement. I would really appreciate it. Go follow me on Twitter at @Aero so you can be featured in videos, and also join my Discord server as well. We've got a bunch of people in there who are always talking about Pokemon and Smash Bros. And Nintendo, so definitely be sure to join that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching.